my concern at this point is this. I don't think the airport's ever going to be built. Certainly not in the next 10 or 15 years. My concern is that they might really get this money and steal people's property. That's what we got to try and stop. That could happen. And so how do we stop that? And one of the things I would like to do is launch a project on, between now and the end of May, really, because you know they're in the General Assembly is in session till the end of May, unless they get really hung up on stuff that goes longer if they can't arrive at a budget. But we need this is a very crucial part of this whole 20-year fight right now, is to try and get that $110 million knocked out. And so to get, because it can be knocked out easily, all we need is Madigan or Cullerton. Madigan's the Speaker of the House, the most powerful person in the state politically, and Cullerton is the President of the Senate, both Democrats, both very powerful, both buddy-buddy, and Madigan has always been very, playing his cards close to the chest on the airport issue, and Midway is in his district. And so people always assume he may not be crazy about Piatone for that reason. But it seems to me he's willing to let it slide through unless we stop him some way, unless the public becomes aware of it, unless there's tremendous pressure put on Madigan and on Cullerton. And so what we need to do is start a letter writing campaign and a telephone calling campaign to call up Madigan, to call up Cullerton. Now, I talked to someone, very powerful lobbyist in Springfield. We've never hired, we've never afforded somebody like this, but years ago he would work for the city of Chicago or the airlines, and so we got to know him, and he knows how the whole thing works down there. And so I talked to him, I said, what should we do? He said, put pressure on Madigan and Cullerton. And I said, what about Quinn? He says, don't worry about Quinn. Madigan and Cullerton. And so we need to, he also said, try and get the Tea Party involved. And because Tea Party, people that are against wasteful spending, the conservatives that are against the use of eminent domain. So, I've been attempting to do that. If anyone has any good connections with Tea Party people, I would like to have an event out in Piatone. I'd like to get a bunch of media there. I've considered different possibilities. We could get a 55-gallon drum and burn $110 million in monopoly money, and get cameras there and everything. And I can't do this all on my own because it involves arranging something like this. Has to be done in the next 2 weeks or so to get a place in Piatone to do it. Like at a park that has one of those things in case it rains and permission to burn stuff. And I thought we'd get maybe in the schools, you have a contest with kids, give them a $100 reward to whoever comes up with the best idea of what to do with $110 million. We could have local politicians talk, people who are opposed to the airport. We could have an open mic where anybody has 1 minute to say what they could do with $110 million. And of course, for some people, we don't borrow it in the first place because we're broke, So if people are interested in getting involved in this project, we can get it off the ground. If people can get Tea Party people involved or other people, involved, Stan people, Green Party people, anybody that opposes this kind of abuse of governmental authority, let me know, and we'll try and get something going. But there'll be two components to this campaign. One is the letter writing and phone calling campaign. And we've got the information here for contacts for Madigan and for Cullerton. I would suggest faxing or writing a letter, typing it out, or handwritten letters are good. And in the letter, explain why you're against it in your own words. That it's a waste of taxpayer money, that it's an abuse of eminent domain, that airport is not needed, whatever makes sense to you. Put it in your own words, send it out. If you know other people in encourage them to do so also. And so if we get enough pressure, it does influence these people, especially if we can get media attention on it also. And so, again, if anyone wants to get involved in this project as far as actually having an event where we can get some TV cameras out there, so I think we get TV cameras out there, we're going to burn $110 million. Everybody wants to see that, right? And so, if you're interested in getting involved, let me know on that part of it. The other part, we're definitely moving forward on the letter writing, the phone calling, call up there. If you got Madigan's phone number, the officer, call up. You know, you don't have to be hostile. You know, I mean, it's better to be polite and civil. But if you're hostile, be hostile too. I mean, be yourself. You know, but in general, you know, it works better not to be too hostile.
About as hostile as their letters is, tell them they're gonna come back.